The anime begins with God telling Toya that he died because he spilled some lightning on him by mistake. As compensation, God grants Toya a wish, and Toya asks if he can bring his smartphone to the new world. God agrees to this wish and also gives him some extra powers. After waking up in a new world, Toya receives a call from God, informing him about a map that has been added to his phone. While roaming the world, Toya meets Zanak, who offers to buy his clothes. Toya agrees and receives a good amount of gold coins in exchange. Toya asks Zanak if he knows of a place to stay, to which Zanak suggests the Silver Moon Inn as a good option. During his search for the inn, Toya encounters two girls, Alze and Lindsay, who are being harassed by thugs over a crystal antler. Toya intervenes and offers to buy the antler for 1 gold coin, which the girls accept. However, the situation escalates into a fight and Toya realizes he has extraordinary strength. Alze and Lindsay then take Toya to the Silver Moon Inn, where they're currently residing. The next day, the trio goes to the Adventurer Guild and accepts a request to kill a group of one-horned wolves in exchange for 18 copper coins. They complete the job successfully and return to the inn. Toya asks the twin sisters to teach him how to read, write, and use magic, which surprises them. Lindsay explains the concept of elements to Toya, and it turns out that he has the ability to use all of the elements, including the rare null magic. Toya then meets Micah and Air, who are looking for help in expanding their business. Air asks if any of them know any new recipes she could try out in her cafe. Everyone declines except for Toya, who recommends ice cream, a food that doesn't yet exist in this world. With the help of water magic, they manage to create vanilla ice cream, which everyone enjoys. The next day, Toya and the twins head to a new city as part of a guild request to deliver a message to the royal palace. Toya believes they should have taken a higher paying request to subjugate a mega slime, but the twins disagree because slimes can melt clothes. Along the way, they come across a young girl being attacked by several guys, and they all join forces to fight them off. The girl introduces herself as Yae, a tourist from Oedo, Ishin, who has lost her vacation money. They take her out to lunch and discover that she's a little too foodie. Yae explains that she is on a mission to improve her skills and decides to join them, since they're heading to the same destination. While on the journey, Toya experiments with various magical spells and discovers new ones such as Apport, Slip, and Long Sense. Eventually, they encounter a carriage under attack by lizardmen, which they quickly take care of, and notice that a person is wounded. He's on the brink of death, but Toya uses his magic to heal him, and it turns out he's the butler of the Duke's family, named Liam. He's traveling with the Duke's daughter, Sushi, and asks Toya to accompany them to the royal palace. At the royal palace, Toya explains the incident and discovers that the Duke's wife is suffering from blindness that can't be cured. Duke further explains that only a powerful healing spell can recover her, but nobody can perform that spell. The females overhear the discussion and exclaim enthusiastically that Toya is capable of using any magic. Toya heals his blind wife, and in return, the Duke rewards him with a pouch containing 40 platinum coins and medals bearing his family's crest. With this medal, they can now travel to any location without restriction. After this, they deliver the letter to the Duke and finally welcome Yae to the group. Next day, Toya helps a young girl named Arma reunite with her older sister by using his smartphone's GPS. Afterward, they split up to do their individual shopping, and Toya purchases a nice coat with hidden abilities. Several days have passed. Toya and his companions have been trapped inside the Silver Moon for 3 days due to heavy rain. During their stay, they try out new sweets at the cafe, and Elsie asks Toya to take some to the Duke. Toya delivers the pastries and teaches the king a broad game called shogi. Duke gets addicted to shogi and forces Toya to play with him. The following day, the group visits the guild in the royal city to take on new quests. Although Toya suggests another slime hunting mission, they instead accept the request to take down a Dullahan, which they complete easily. During a break after the quest, Toya uses a spell to search for historical treasure and senses something. They discover a hidden entrance to the underground, where they find a wall with ancient writing on it. Toya takes a picture of the wall with his phone and uses his earth magic to open the doorway to the treasure. However, it turns out that the treasure is a deadly ancient monster. The monster wakes up and attacks them in fury. They somehow manage to defeat the creature and report the incident to the Duke. Toya shows him the pictures of the ancient writing and promises to make him a copy using his magic. After printing the copy, Toya returns to the palace and learns that the Duke's brother, aka the king, has been poisoned. The Duke requests Toya's help to cure his brother and asks him to accompany him. Toya learns from the Duke that the nobles of their country may have played a role in the poisoning of the king. If the king dies, his daughter, Princess Yumina, will receive the throne, and the perpetrator will attempt to exploit her through political marriage. Upon arriving at the castle, they meet Count Balsa, who was caught a suspect and is ready to punish her. They immediately enter the king's room, and Toya uses his spell to recover him. Seeing his deeds, King's daughter, Yumina, gets impressed by him. Everyone starts suspecting Olga, the ambassador from Miss Mead, who brought wine for the king. Toya suspects something fishy as he remembers his meeting with Olga when he helped the small kid. He examines the room using search magic and calls everyone to the room. He pours the wine in the king's glass and asks Count Balsa to test it. He refuses to drink it and exposes himself as the poisoner. It turns out he poisoned the king's glass and tried to blame Olga by saying the wine was poisoned. Princess Yumina is again impressed by Toya's courage and intelligence and falls in love with him. She makes a wish to marry him, which surprises everyone, including Toya. After some conversation, they come to a conclusion that Yumina will stay with Toya for 2 years, and if she fails to win his heart in that time, she will give up on him. Later, Toya introduces Yumina to everyone and they register her to the Adventurers Guild. During a quest, Yumina performs a summoning magic, which Toya finds intriguing, and asks her to teach him. When they return, Toya tries his hand at the summoning magic and manages to summon White Monarch, one of the 4 heavenly beasts. The beast tries to test his worthiness and asks Toya to put his magic on him, which doesn't end well. The beast surrenders and asks Toya to be his master. Toya names him Kohaku, and he transforms into a tiny tiger cub to join his team. The next day, Toya and the girls set out on their quest to find the palace of a missing slime researcher, but the girls are not happy about it. Toya tries to cheer them up before they reach the palace. Once they arrive, they search for clues about the missing researcher, but most of the papers have been ruined by the slimes. However, they find a book with pictures and explanations of various slimes. On their way back, they encounter a swarm of green slimes and manage to escape, but slip due to the different species of slimes known as lotion slimes. Kohaku saves Toya, but unfortunately the girls' clothes start dissolving in the green slimes. Toya quickly saves them with his gate magic. They continue to encounter various slimes until they find the slime researcher's office, where they discover his bones. In the end, they destroy the fortress and return to town. Later that day, Toya helps Yai locate a lost girl's mother using his phone's search spell. Lindsay requests Toya's assistance in learning ancient magic from a scroll, and then he enchants goggles to help her read the ancient spell. She practices the magic ballistic bubble explosion and almost achieves it with Toya's help. Later, Yumina receives a message from her father thanking Toya for his assistance, and receives a mansion as a reward. Toya and his friends reach their massive mansion, where they're blown away by its grandeur. Toya invites everyone to stay and learn the king has sent employees to run the estate. The king's personal butler, Lim, chooses to serve Toya as an appreciation for rescuing his brother. Later, Toya learns that the Duke and his daughter have arrived to meet him. The Duke confesses that he wants Toya to set up a gate spell for rapid and secure transit between Balfest and Miss Mead. Along with some beast people, they all set off on a carriage ride protected by guards. While camping at night, a guard hears thieves approaching, and Toya uses his smartphone to track them and finally captures him. The next day, they encounter a black dragon attacking a village. While the knights help the villagers, Toya and his group distract the dragon and lure it outside the village. After some hits, Toya's weapon breaks and he's about to get hit, but suddenly a kunai comes flying and hits the dragon's eye. This gives him the opening and he finally manages to defeat the dragon. Suddenly a red dragon appears and apologizes for the black dragon's behavior. The dragon makes a vow and then sets off. The rest of the night they spend putting out flames, searching for survivors, and healing. This tires out Toya and he wakes up to discover that he was sleeping on Yumina's lap. After saving the village, the Elder rewards Toya by giving him a dead dragon's fang to create a new weapon, as his blade was destroyed during the battle. Toya is also given a kunai found in one of the dragon's eyes, though he's unaware of its origin. They arrive at Miss Mead's castle, where King Jamako greets them, and he's surprised to see the Princess of Belfast is with them. The princess explains that her father wants to form an alliance between their two countries, and she was sent as an envoy to his recommendation. After realizing Toya's skills, King Jamako challenges Toya to a fight. Despite being a powerful fighter, Jamako quickly defeated by Toya and is left in awe of his magical abilities. Later, we see the celebration happen and everyone is having a good time. Meanwhile, Toya finds himself sitting in a dimly lit corridor and is intrigued by a wandering teddy bear that leads him to a dark room. Inside, Toya meets a young girl named Lean, who introduces herself as an elder of the Fairy Clan and reveals that she's over 6 centuries old. Lean demonstrates her use of program magic and asks Toya to try it out for himself, which he does by programming the chair. After impressing Lean with his mastery of all all types of magic, she offers to become his instructor, but soon departs. The next day, Toya uses program magic to create a gun out of a dragon fang, which impresses his companions. Later, they return to Miss Mead and try out local curry, but Kohaku alerts Toya that they're being watched. He then confronts Yumina's bodyguards from Belfast, who reveal that they were the ones who blinded the dragon with kunai. They ask Toya to keep it a secret to protect Yumina's safety. The next day, Toya uses his magic to create a mirror gate, allowing the rulers of Belfast and Miss Mead to meet. Meanwhile, Lean tells Paula that Toya has caught her interest, hinting at another potential romantic subplot. At the mansion, Toya creates a bicycle, which the Duke and the ladies enjoy riding. The Duke then asks Toya to build a bike for his daughter, which leads Toya onto an encounter with a young girl named Renee. Toya rescues Renee from a group of thieves and offers her a job at the mansion. She begins training as a maid with the help of the other workers. Later, Toya, Yumina, Sue, and Kohaku visit Miss Mead and are surprised to see Olga on a date with Leon. They follow the couple and run into the king of Miss Mead, who joins them in their pursuit. Eventually, Leon confesses his feelings for Olga with the help of everyone. Back at the mansion, Toya receives a visit from Lean, Paula, and Charlotte, who inquire about the ancient creature Toya had killed previously. Lean asks Toya to accompany her to Ishin, but the location is too far away, so she teaches Toya the recall magic, which can allow him to see into another person's memories and create a gate to explore the location. Toya practices this with Yae, causing jealousy among the other ladies, and soon opens a portal that takes them all to Ishin. The group arrives in the city of Ishin and notices that the city is in poor condition. When they reach Yae's home, they discover that Yae's father and brother are involved in a difficult battle with the Takeda clan. Yae urges Toya to use his magic to get there quickly, and they reach a hill that is close enough from the base. They notice that the castle is under attack by the undead soldiers. Toya uses a gate spell to enter the castle and meets Jutaro, Yae's brother. After Yae reunites with her brother, Toya heals everyone and takes down the undead enemy soldiers. They meet with Yae's father, Jubei, and Lord Tokugawa, who suspects that these events are being orchestrated by a dark mage named Kansuke, and the Takeda clan is being manipulated by him. Lean believes that Kansuke is using a relic to do this, and capturing him will make things normal. Soon after, Tsubaki, one of the 4 generals of Takeda clan, appears and shows them a letter confirming their suspicion. The letter further states that all of the generals are currently being held captives. At night, Toya, Lean, and Tsubaki reach outside Kansuke's base. Lean uses her invisible spell, making herself and Toya invisible. Toya then attempts to use his magic to open a gate near the entrance of the base, but the barrier prevents him from doing so. Tsubaki suggests removing the source of the barrier, but this would alert the enemies. Instead, the group sneaks out into the dungeon, where they find the Takeda clan's generals. They manage to free them and break through the barrier. Using Gate, Toya and the group confront Kansuke, and Toya defeats him by breaking the red gem, which was the source of his power. The next day, the group uses a recall spell to locate the ruins, which are located underwater. Toya then opens a gateway to the seashore and everyone arrives at the beach, because every anime has to have a beach episode. After enjoying the scenic view of the shore, Toya invites the royal family to join them at the beach. He even sets up tents, water toys, and lounge seats for everyone's comfort. While everyone's having fun, Toya attempts to swim to the ruins located underwater, but his limited air supply prevents him from going any further. Kohaku informs him that he knows an entity who rules over water, and it is known as Black Emperor. Toya summons the Black Emperor, which turns out to be a turtle, and a snake. He defeats them using a continuous slip spell and makes a contract with the Black Emperor, naming them Kokyo and Songo. At sunset, they construct a water-resistant barrier for Toya, allowing him to breathe and move underwater. With their help, Toya discovers a teleportation artifact among the ruins. He applies some magic on it, which transports them to a park with a view of the sky. There, they meet a green-haired female in blue attire, who's not wearing any bottom clothes. She introduces herself as Francesca and asks him to call her Keska. When Toya asks Keska about their location, she reveals that they're in the Garden of Babylon, which is a floating garden in the sky that was created by Professor Regina Babylon, aka Keska's creator. Toya's pets, Kokyo and Songo, notice that Keska has no living energy, and she explains that she was created 5,092 years ago to serve as the control terminal for the garden, but was only activated when Toya arrived. She informs Toya that he is now the owner of the garden and Keska, because only a person with all magical attributes can enter the portal and claim ownership of the ship. On the other side, the ladies are waiting for Toya at Ishin Beach. Suddenly, a gate opens and Toya appears. The group enters the garden, and Lean comments on the similarity of the garden's architecture to that of the old Parthenos society. Toya wonders about the civilization, and Lean explains that they were highly advanced and had magical instruments and spells. Keska interrupts, stating that Toya is now the master of the garden and her, which angers the girls. Yumina takes Lindsay, Elsie, and Yai for a walk and discusses their feelings for Toya, suggesting they all marry him. Meanwhile, Toya questions Keska about their other parts of Babylon, and she reveals that there are other android-controlled parts floating around the globe. When the girls return, Keska explains that the garden is protected by barriers, preventing her from contacting the other parts. Lindsay suggests using Toya's phone to search, but it doesn't work. Lean then realizes that they'll need to create the other ruin portals to obtain the other Babylon parts. Keska requests to remain with Toya, but the other girls despise her for her absurd behavior. Toya tries to persuade Keska to stay behind, but she explains that she needs to finish his registration and kisses him. This makes everyone angry, but she clarifies that she only did it to register his genetic information. Out of the blue, Lindsay comes and confesses her love for Toya by kissing him as well. A few days have passed and Toya is still thinking about Lindsay's confession. Suddenly, Yumina walks in and expresses anger over Francesca taking Toya's first kiss, but ultimately confesses that she's okay with him having multiple wives. Yumina then asks Toya to be honest about his feelings for Linz, to which he confesses his love for her. But it turns out Lindsay was there all along and she was listening to everything using the invisible spell. They finally confront each other's feelings, and Toya agrees to make Linz his second wife. Later that day, Yai and Elsie demand to fight Toya and eventually confess their love for him as well. Toya is unsure about how to respond to all of their confessions and asks them to give them some time to think about it. Later on the ship, Toya receives a communication from the professor through the USB. Apparently, she was following his life, using an artifact which can look into the future. That evening, Toya agrees to marry all of them, which makes everyone happy. Meanwhile, Keska explains that Professor Babylon saw Toya with 9 wives. She further questions Lean if she plans to marry Toya, to which she responds, maybe. The anime then ends, giving us the picture of his 9 wives, 6 who are currently with him, and 3 who are yet to come.